Hi, everyone. We are here for my birth chart blueprint. Can you believe this is episode number 8? Wow. Episode number 8. So I pray that you have been learning a lot. All right, let's see who's in the house. Hi, Lakia. How are you? How are you? Okay, let's see. Hey, Shiloh. Hello, hello, hello. All right, you guys, let's just jump right into it. I'm sure others will come and they'll join us. If you're watching this via playback, please, you too, give us a thumbs up. If you're here live, you know what to do. If you give us a thumbs up, it pushes to that. Hello, Boogie 777. Okay, I love that name. I love that name. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Okay. All right, you guys. Today we are going to dive into chart patterns. Okay. I'm going to teach you now how to look at a chart and how to be able to figure out the chart patterns, the dominance in that chart, hopefully within 5 minutes. Okay. So I hope by now that you've watched all the other episodes. If you have not, if you're watching me for the first time, first of all, welcome. But if you have not had a chance to look at episodes 1 through 7, go and do that now and then come back because this is a replay. Okay. And come back and then you'll be able to pick up with where we are today. Okay, that's going to help you because today is going to be like a recap. It's going to be a uh, pulling everything together. So now you can look at your chart and listen, feel more comfortable about who you are, understanding your strengths a lot better, right? Helping you to understand how do I go through life. Now, before we even begin this, you all know these are lives, right? And so I like to speak about what's happening right now. Right now, we have experienced some very, very, very serious transits. Okay. Right now, today, Saturn and Neptune are conjunct in the sign of Aries. Last Wednesday, February 17th, there was a solar eclipse. So if you go back and you watch my chart, you'll see where that solar eclipse, I had a direct hit. The solar eclipse came in Aquarius at the 29th degree. And my midheaven sits at 28.53 degrees. Excuse me, the 28.53 degree of Aquarius. And I'm telling you, my life blew up last week. It like anything that wasn't serving my highest good had to go. And it blew up. It started last Wednesday. It's so crazy because it started last Wednesday. Friday is when Saturn and Neptune went conjunct at the 0 degree. It continued Saturday. It continued Friday, and it even went into Saturday. And I am listening and watching people all around me who are telling me about situations in their life that are endings, things that people losing jobs, relationship endings, people not getting along. It's just been chaos. Okay. Just like it's been chaos in the news. Why am I saying all this? Because you have to understand that the universe doesn't play. That's it. That's period, point blank, right? We are here to learn lessons. We are here to actually move forth for our higher good. And when we don't do that voluntarily, right, sometimes we are forced to. And so that's why I wanted to start my birth chart blueprint Because if you could understand yourself more, it could help you lean into your strengths, right? It could help you to understand your weaknesses. And it'll help you understand, like when we have these major transits that we can't get away from, okay? How do we deal with that in our daily lives, right? Are we holding on to something that really is not of our good and we don't want to let go? So that's why this podcast, this whatever we're doing, YouTube weekly get together is so important. Hey Harrison, how are you? All right, so that's why it's so important. And so let's just jump in today, because today, again, we're going to bring together all of our lessons that we had previously, but I'm going to go deeper today. And we're going to bring it together. So you, hopefully you have your birth chart now, and you have it in front of you, because as I go through this, it's going to help you now get an understanding of what are the patterns that are in your birth chart, right? What is the dominance that's coming forth? So this week, you're going to stop saying, I don't know what matters. You're not going to say that anymore. You're not going to say, I don't know what matters. Okay. This week, we go into, ooh, okay. So this is the main energy of my chart. This is the main energy of who I am. All right. So the key takeaways are, we're going to show what's dominant, what's unavoidable. Okay, that word is big. What is unavoidable in your chart, and what's repeating? What's a pattern? What's something that's repeating in your chart? What's a theme that repeats that you need to, again, lean into? All right. So a birth chart is not a list. That's what I want you to understand. It's not a list. It's a pattern. Your birth chart is a pattern. And today what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is the reoccurring pattern in my chart. So let's look at it like this. If you have a room, right? If we're in a room, the planets that are showing up in your chart, those are the people. All right. The signs that they're in, those are the type of personalities that those planets have. So some people might be communicators, some people might be reserved, some people might be prideful, some people might be naughty. Okay, whatever it's, some people might be structured, some people might be disciplined, some people might be chaotic. This is what we're talking about. It's the signs are the personalities. Okay. Now the houses are where these planets and these signs are standing. Okay. What house is it standing in? And even those houses have different kind of themes. All right. So patterns are, when we're looking at a birth chart, patterns are showing us who is talking the loudest. In my birth chart, what pattern, what theme is talking the loudest? All right. And so that is so important. Give me 1 second. That's my baby. Hold 1 second. Hey, sweetie pie. I'm live right now. So I'm gonna call you right back, okay? Okay, bye-bye. Y'all know when it comes to my babies now, I gotta everybody pause for a minute. I gotta make sure ain't nothing happening. I gotta make sure ain't nothing happening. I am that kind of mommy. For real. All right. So let me see. Hey Shanice, how art thou? All right, you guys. So let's keep going. So we talked about the patterns. They help us to understand in our birth chart what is speaking the loudest. What is the pattern that's coming through the loudest that I need to hone in on, that I need to lean into? Because remember, I told you, some things are unavoidable. It's unavoidable. So when I had that hit on my knit heaven last week through that eclipse coming in at the 29th degree, it was unavoidable, because my next space that I'm going in my life, and I want you to look at your chart too, but my chart clearly my chart clearly shows that the next year and a half is an upgrade. And if I don't follow what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it, it's going to be painful for me. So the universe came in and it sped things up, so to speak. It sped things. Oh boy, did it speed things up. So today, again, you have your chart in front of you. I'm going to teach you how to stop overthinking. Okay, we're going to stop overthinking this information. Okay, we're going to stop overthinking the information that's in the charts, and we're going to start reading your chart like it's a story. We're going to start reading it like it's the story of your life. All right. So once again, I hope you have your chart in front of you. This week, I want you to feel, when we go through, I want you to feel relieved. Okay. I want you to feel like you're getting clarification about your life. Again, knowing how to lean in to the areas that you need to lean into, learning how to lean into the behaviors that strengthen you. Okay, that's important. I want you to understand how to build your confidence, right? Because again, some things are unavoidable. So, how do you build your confidence in some of these personality types that you cannot get away from? How do you lean into that you use it as a strength and not a weakness? Okay. And I want you to be able to say, I can actually do this now. I can actually live this life now. I know the areas of my weakness. I know the areas of my strength, right? So these are the areas that we're going to talk about today. And these are the areas that we are going to bring forth to make your tomorrow better. All right. Okay, so let's get started. You know, I got my little notes, and you see me looking down. I'm making sure I stay on track. Make sure I stay on track. So most beginners, they read their birth chart like it's a grocery list. You know, they like make a list that I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. But astrologers don't do that. They look at a birth chart and they pull out the patterns. What are the reoccurring patterns that's in my life? So today I'm going to show you the fastest way to understand your chart. And again, I'm hoping that you'll be able to do this in less than 5 minutes once you learn how to do it. All right. So let's talk about now, what is a chart pattern? Let's just talk about what a pattern is. A pattern is something that's reoccurring. Okay. And so when we talk about a birth chart pattern, we're talking about what are the dominant areas in this chart? What are the areas that repeat? Okay. What are the areas that's the loudest, that's screaming, you better pay attention to me? What are those areas? So, for example, somebody can have 40 placements in their chart, and this is possible because when you bring in all the aspects, you know, those things that conjunct, those things that trine, those things that square, and then you have those semi squares, those you got all of this stuff going on, and some people have a lot of things that's happening, right? So when you look at all of this, you don't want to hone in on all of the noise, right? Only thing we want to do is hone in on what are those areas that's screaming to me, right? So even though somebody might have 40 placements, they might only have 2 or 4 themes in their chart that's screaming, listen to me. And if you don't, I'm going to make you listen to me. I'm going to make you get the lesson. I want to make you learn and get this lesson, even if you have to repeat it over and over and over and over again. I'm just going to change the faces. That's all I'm going to do. So when people come in and out of our life with the same situation that you're dealing with, it's a lesson that has to be learned. And your chart reflects that. And if you don't get the lesson with this person, it's no problem. That person will be exchanged out with this person. And if you don't get it, then it's no problem. That person will be exchanged out. And it keeps, when the relationships are being exchanged out, but still the same situations are occurring, the themes, the patterns, it becomes more and more and more emotional, because now you start saying in your mind, I've been here before. Wait a minute. All of this looks familiar. Okay. I've been in this place before. It's just that I'm in this place now with you. And I remember I was in that place with them and with them. Do you see what I'm saying? So today we are going to settle into the themes and the patterns that are screaming, pay attention to me. So the first thing I want to teach you about is something called a house stellium. Okay. A house stellium is it's a loud life area. Okay, it's a very loud life area. So when you look at your chart, you'll see if you have a stellium. So there's a house stellium, and then there's a sign stellium. So remember, I told you signs are the personalities. Okay, so people can have a house stellium, or they could have a sign stellium. So what is a stellium? A stellium is like, y'all know how the cheerleaders have those megaphones when they're at the games and they're shouting in those megaphones. That's how a stellium is in your chart. It's like a megaphone. Okay, it's speaking very, very, very loudly. So a stellium is you can have 3 or more planets in a house, or 3 or more planets in a sign. Let me say that again. A stellium is when you have 3 or more planets in a house on your birth chart, or 3 or more planets in a sign. Now, let me speak for a minute for those who may not have a stellium. Yes, stelliums are very loud no matter what. Yes, they are extremely loud. They are extremely loud. Okay. Now, for those who may not have a stellium, listen, it doesn't mean that your chart is not important. That's not what it's saying. It's saying you have to hone in now on where is my loudest things or loudest patterns coming from. All right. So we're going to dig more into that. But right now, I want to deal with those that might have these stelliums, because these stelliums are very, very, very serious. So let me just give you an example of what this might look like. Let's just say, for instance, you have a 10th house stellium. Okay. You're someone with a 10th house stellium. That means you have extreme visibility in your career. All right. You have extreme visibility about what your purpose is in life. You have extreme visibility about your reputation. All right. About your reputation. And again, I'm just going to throw some of them out right now. You might have a 7th house stellium. This is partnership. All right. This is partnership lessons. All right. This is partnership lessons in relationships. And these stellium personalities is going to define the path. All right. You can have a Pisces stellium. Remember, I'm talking about there could be stelliums in the sign. This is where you're going to focus on sensitivity, spirituality, right? How to escape, how to have compassion. All of this comes together. So now let me show you. And again, remember, I always try to show you my chart, because this kind of helps you to get an idea of what I'm talking about. So give me 1 second. And you guys, next week, let me just go ahead and say this now. Next week, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come on. So just look out for the message. I mean, just look out for the time, because I'm going to be in a different time zone, and I got to kind of figure out what that's looking like. All right. So let me make this a little bigger. Give me a second. There we go. Yep, that's how I want it. All right. Okay, give a thumbs up if y'all can see that, okay? And give a thumbs up to the live if you're coming in for the first time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, give a thumbs up. And I know we have a little delay with the comments, so let me just wait a second because I want to make sure you guys can see that, okay? Because you can see that I have, okay, good. All right, so you can see in my chart, and again, I hope you have your chart in front of you, but this is kind of what stelliums would look like. It's like a cluster of these signs, right? And so if you look in the center, and once again, if you're coming in for the first time, go back to episode 1 because I'm going over information that I've already covered. Okay. So if you're feeling kind of like I don't know what's going on, start at episode 1 and this will be recorded. So you'll be able to come back to it. Okay. All right. So if you look at my chart, I have what is called an 11th house. Hey, Miss Deborah, how are you? I have an 11th house Taurus stellium. All right. So remember, I told you can have a stellium in the house or you can have a stellium in the sign. And just so happens in my chart, I have an 11th house stellium and I have a stellium in the sign of Taurus. So I got some loudness that's coming forth in those theme areas that I have to pay attention to, because if I don't pay attention to it, the universe is going to make me pay attention. These themes are going to be prevalent in my life, whether I like it or not. And this is what I'm telling you. This is why you have to lean into who you are. You can't fight it, right? Because when you lean into it, you'll become more in alignment and it'll be easier for you in life. Okay? It'll be easier for you to get through your day-to-day routines because you're leaning into your strengths. You're leaning into who you are. So let's just look at it right now. So my sun is in Taurus in the 11th house. My Mercury is in Taurus in the 11th house. My Saturn is in Taurus in the 11th house. Okay. So this is a true 11th house stellium. Now, for those, I want you to look in your chart. I went over some areas of what stellium strength patterns might look like in different charts. So just using mine, for example, let's say you have an 11th house stellium, okay? So with 11th house stellium, these are the areas that, again, I need to lean into. So in 11th house, it's going to bring forth large audiences. So when I think about some of the platforms that I've had in my life, I have been before very large audiences. Okay. Having platforms on a state and national level for some things. So this is radiating in my life, even me being on YouTube. Okay. This is something that is resonating. So I need to lean into it. I can't be someone who's afraid of large platforms. It wouldn't work for me. Okay. And so this is what I'm saying. Look at your chart and see what these themes are. So once again, 11th house, it's social impact. So me being private, me teaching about the private life show. Okay. Teaching people to be private. That's that community piece. So 11th house is community leadership. All right. It's supporting people. All right. To be supportive, to be allies with people, to be a part of organizations and institutions. All of this is 11th house, right? Long-term goals, financial gains over a period of time. This is 11th house. Movements that always build. This is what 11th house looks like. So for you, again, yours might be in another area. Let me stop sharing. Yours might be in another house or another area. And so you need to understand what those strengths are. You need to understand what that theme is in that sign or in that house that is saying, listen to me. Listen to me. Because if you don't get in alignment, it's going to be harder for you in life. So stelliums is one pattern that when you look at your chart, I want you to hone it on, because if you have a stellium in a sign or in a house, that pattern is screaming, listen to me. So let's just use again, and I'm going to always put myself out as the example because I don't know any other way to do this right now until you guys, start showing me your charts or be willing to put your chart on the platform. But in my life, by me having a stellium in a space of community, um, social, social guidance, leadership, right? Groups, large platforms, um, anything, and then also with Taurus being there, which brings forth stability, resources, right? The people that are in my life that I have relation with, especially like my best girlfriends or what have you, they understand that about me. So that's why those that are in alignment with me, as far as my friends are concerned, that's something that they know Sherry is going to do the social media. She's about, community. She's about making people's lives better. And that's a characteristic that they love about me. Now, I couldn't have friends who would be jealous of something like that. This is where alignment comes in. I'm trying to show you what it looks like in your life. Somebody that's in alignment with me would not be one that shies away from me being out in the public. It won't work, right? You have to be in alignment, because if you're not in alignment, it weighs on you. If you're not in alignment, it becomes a weakness for you. And that's what we're trying to do, is give you an understanding. What are the areas you need to lean into that brings you power, right? What are the relationships you need to lean into that gives you strength, that gives you guidance, and that works. All right. So now let's talk about the element dominance. So when you look at your chart, there is an energy type that's coming forth. Now, again, we already covered this, but I'm going to go back through it again. So what are the elements? The elements are fire, okay? The fire signs, which would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now, these signs, if you are a sign in your big three, okay, or you may have some aspects, which I mean, when I say aspects, I'm talking about conjunctions, trines, squares, all right? You might, if you have some aspects with these signs, it matters a lot. So that, again, that might be something that you need to hone in on. So fire signs, we're talking about action. We're talking about confidence. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about desire. So right now, Saturn and Neptune being in Aries. And you know what? This is so funny because this week I have been popping off at the mouth more so than I have ever before, the whole time we were in the age of Pisces. Since we've been in the age of Aquarius, and now that Saturn, because Aquarius, again, they're forerunners, okay? They speak their mind. They're leaders, okay? And they're very in your face people, Aquarian people. So again, my stellium is in that 11th house, which is the Aquarian house. And then when we're talking about that Saturn and Neptune being in Aries right now, it's making all of us pretty much act a fool if we're not grounded. Pretty much. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I told my daughters, I said, listen, right now, I need y'all to think before you speak. Okay. I need everybody in all of your work environments to take a chill pill and really think before you speak, because right now Aries is making us do this. Okay, we're not dealing with the BS no more. You are about to have everything that I'm feeling. I'm not holding it back on nothing. But that's that Aries energy. That's that fire energy. Okay. All right, so let's move to the next element. In your chart, let's say you have an energy of earth, which would be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. That's your grounding energy. That's the stability, right? That's your money. That's your realism. That's what this is, okay? So if that's screaming forth, let's say you have a stellium that's in Taurus, like I do, okay? Or if you have a stellium or some aspects coming off of Virgo or Capricorn, okay? Hone into that, lean into that, because this is your grounding energy. This is the energy that makes you kind of take that thought, do I need to say this right now? Okay, it stabilizes us. So that if that's ringing loud in your chart, lean into it. Okay, lean into it. Because Earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, it is about money. It is about building. It is about that foundation. It is about that stability. Okay, it's about the realism of what's really happening in my life, because Earth energy is going to ground you in it. Whereas fire makes you go, makes you do, right? Earth energy is going to say, wait a minute, let's think through this for a minute. Let's think through this. Let's be realistic about what's happening. This is what it looks like in your chart. Now, what if you have an air dominant energy that's coming forth? This is going to be Gemini. This is going to be Libra. This is going to be Aquarius. Okay? If you have that air is about thought. Air thinks through situations, right? Air is about the mind. Air is about communication. Okay, I'm a Gemini rising. That's why I communicate. Okay, that's an easy space for me. So mind, communication, detachment. Air signs will detach. Okay, but they have ideas. Okay, they have ideas. They're forerunners. They're leaders from a mind space. So if you have an air sign that's on a team, they're probably going to be the ones that think of the ideas, where other people can't see it yet. But again, they're futuristic thinkers. They're in the future. All right. So make sure that if this is an area that is screaming in your chart, what am I telling you? Lean into it. Lean into that energy. So let's just say, for instance, you have a dominance of air, okay, but you have a identity of earth. So you might have a Taurus sun, but you got this stellium in Gemini or Aquarius or Libra, okay? This is someone who might say, I'm reserved. I don't want to be out there, that grounding energy. But then you got this other side say, get out in front and speak. You need to communicate. And so you're always you're doing this. You're battling within yourself. This is what I'm telling you. This is what it looks like. This is why you have to get over your fear of what you don't want to do. And then the universe may be telling you, this is what I'm telling you to do. This is what I'm instructing you to do. And if you don't do it, you're going to stay there at this kindergarten level until you understand that this is what you're going to do until you leave here. So what do? We have to lean into the energy. We have to lean into it. And then the last is certainly not least is water, right? So this water energy that may be dominant in your chart, we're talking about Cancer, we're talking about Scorpio, and we're talking about Pisces energy. The water is about emotion, how you feel, okay? It's your intuition, getting that gut feeling on something, having that wisdom about something. So when somebody doesn't have to say anything, you just know it. You just feel it. Okay. Having that memory. People don't ever equate that. They equate that type of energy to Gemini, to air, but no. That water energy has the memories of life, because the memories is what give us what? Emotion, right? And then you have the intuition of and the ability to heal. So when you have that ability to heal, it's a very powerful, powerful space. But again, if you're not leaning into that energy in your life where that might be a dominance in your chart, it could hurt you. Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying because I'm looking at these comments and let me see. Next Tuesday, I don't mind sharing my birth chart. Okay. All right. So just send it over to, where can you send it? Let me think about that for a minute. I don't know where you can send. I have to do a email for you to send it to. Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll bring up some places for you guys to send those birth charts to me. That push and pull is very prevalent when we do not know our chart. Absolutely. Yes, that push and pull. Oh my gosh, that tug of war in your spirit, right? When you're just defiant, where you're defiant and you're doing things that you really shouldn't do. And at the end, you are the one that ends up losing. You end up losing life choices that you had, right? You end up losing relationships. You end up losing friends. You end up losing career paths and job opportunities. Some people end up losing financially because they're clueless. And I say this all the time because they don't know who they are. You know, they just don't know who they are. They don't know how to operate in life. They just keep doing what they're used to doing, and it keeps bringing forth the same results. You never go anywhere. All right. So again, when you look at your chart, what we're talking about today is what are your patterns? What's screaming? So let me just recap again. Do you have stelliums? If you have a stellium, you need to lean into it. And I'm telling you, when I started living my life, it just so happened, thank God, thank the Most High. Oh my goodness, that I leaned into my strengths and I did not even understand anything about my birth chart. I love children, so I rolled with what made me feel happy. I became a teacher, right? I love money, dealing with finances, resources, stability. So being a real estate agent, then a broker, then leading hundreds of agents, that just was up my line. I leaned into my strengths. Now, where I did not lean into was my relationship piece. I didn't do well with relationships. That's why I had failed marriages, because that stubborn side of me refused to yield, right? And I think about this now where I am, with all of the lessons that have been learned. What if I had yielded, right? What if I had just folded into the apologies, just folded into um, just where I was at that time mentally? What would have happened? Don't know now. So again, now I go into a category with everybody else of it being lessons learned. Lessons learned. But now where I am in my life, now knowing, again, I didn't know that back then. I hadn't grown. I didn't have an understanding of who I was. I was moving with what felt right to me. And thank goodness it aligned, but I didn't align in some other areas in my life. But now I have no excuse. I know my alignments, right? I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. And the areas that I am shielded from, okay, the areas that I've been, because you do know you'll be protected, you guys. Okay, a lot of people don't understand this, but you will be protected. Okay, when you bring forth that energy of really wanting to understand who you are, you will be guided, you will be protected, and you will receive information when you are strong enough to receive it. And that's the beauty of this. It's like the universe gives you this space and in this protection. And while you're in this space, like being put in a cocoon, And while you're in this cocoon, it's just like the baby coming through a birth canal, which is very intense, very uncomfortable, right? When this is being birthed, when this new you being birthed. So while you're going through this, you're going to have friction, but the universe is going to take you through when you're able to deal with the friction. The universe is going to give you what you need to move to that next lesson when you are mentally able to handle it. I really believe that. I really, really, really believe that. But your heart has to be right. All of this is in the same space. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Hold on, these comments are flying a little bit. Yes, I'm a Gemini sun with a stellium. Ooh, stellium is Scorpio. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll let you know, Miss Deborah. Know thyself above all, as above, so below. Absolutely. A lot of people don't believe that as above, so below, but we saw that last week, didn't we? Did we not see as above, so below last week? That's what as above, so below looks like. Oh, very intense. Very, very intense. But again, when you're moving to the next level, and again, I'm going to keep using myself so you all can understand what I'm saying. I am about to move to the next level. It is already in motion. There's nothing I can do at this point to reel it back in. It's done. It is done. One thing some people know about, another thing no one really knows about yet. Okay? Not even my children. That's just how low key this next piece is. That has been in a cocoon and it's ready to come out. So those that can't handle this platform that I'm about to go to, those that can't handle this next level that I'm about to go to, they have to be removed because it's going to be too intense. It's going to be very intense. All right. All right. So let me go now to the next thing that screams out in your chart, which is, the Akashic records. Absolutely. Well, we'll get into the Akashic records too at a later time, so y'all can even understand how that works for those that don't know. So now so we talked about the stelliums. We talked about the energy that's coming forth from the personalities in your chart, which are the signs, right? So now let's talk about the modality dominance. And again, this is stuff that I've already covered in previous episodes. What I'm doing today is I'm bringing it together so you can quickly look at your chart in 5 minutes and realize the areas you need to lean into. All right. So the modality, let's talk about that. So we're talking about the modalities and how they move. Now, what are the modalities? We're talking about cardinal signs. We're talking about fixed signs. We're talking about mutable signs. So when I talk about the cardinal signs, I'm talking about these signs that are fixed. These are the signs that say, I shall not be moved. Okay. Now let me give you the cardinal signs. Okay. Excuse me. I'm saying this wrong. The cardinals are the initiates. I'm sorry. Let me start again. The cardinal, the fixed, and the mutable. So the cardinals are the ones that initiate, and the fixed are the ones that say, I shall not be moved. And the mutables, they can flow. All right. These are our flowers. They can be over here and they can be over there. So now, before I even get to the signs, let me talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the modality. So if you look in your chart and you see cardinal signs, which are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Now let's talk about these. These signs are always going to be the beginning of the seasons. That's an easy way to understand a cardinal. They kick the seasons off. So Aries kicks off spring, Cancer kicks off summer, Libra kicks off fall, Capricorn kicks off winter, right? These signs right here, again, are cardinal. So they initiate, they start. What are the strengths of starters? Well, if, like, say, for instance, I'm on a committee and I need someone to help, jumpstart a project that I'm about to do. Well, a cardinal sign would be great for that. But a weakness is sometimes you starting stuff and it's not time for it to be started. Sometimes we're moving too fast, right? Sometimes we're not supposed to be moving right now. And this is why I'm trying to tell you, when you know who you are, you'll understand, oh, I'm feeling this urge to talk. Oh, I'm feeling this urge. I need to do this. But it's that wisdom, that gut, that little angel right here is telling you, go sit down for a minute. Sit. This is what I'm talking about. This is what it looks like to lean into your strength and don't allow the weaknesses of your chart to take over, because if it takes over, you're not in alignment. Does it need to be there? Yes, because you need to activate it in the time that it needs to be activated. And if you activate it inappropriately, it will make your life look in an absolute chaotic state and be in a chaotic state. It will never, ever, ever, ever work. I don't care how much you fight it. You will come back and do it, the lesson, over and over and over again. So again, cardinal signs are the initiators, but you got to initiate at the right time. All right, let's go to, let me give you some more traits of the cardinal signs. They're action oriented. They have leadership energy. They're impatient with stagnation. So when things aren't moving as fast as they want them to move, they become very impatient, which we know is a negative behavior, right? They create new cycles. So remember, I told you they start the new season. So they create these new cycles like we're in right now with Saturn and Neptune and Aries. We started a completely new 36-year cycle in all of our lives. In all of our lives, right? Saturn is going to be in Aries for the next 2 to 2.5 years. So that means we are going to be in a space of structure. We're going to be in a space of discipline. And Neptune being there with giving us illusions and not being clear on reality, all of those illusions are going to be stripped away. And that's what we're seeing right now. People that have showed you one face, they can't do it anymore, because Saturn and Neptune coming in is showing you who they truly are. They can't fake the funk anymore. The universe is not going to allow it. The reality of who you are has come forth. Okay? The real you is here. No more faking. Right? No more tricking. Okay? The real you has come forth. And that's why last week has been chaotic. My daughter, one of my daughters called me early and she was like, Mommy, I'm at work and I'm just looking at all of these people that are going through so much stuff in their life. And my daughter even had a blow up. Like, she had something blow up. Oh my God. I'm not gonna put her business out there. Definitely not. But I will tell you this. Her situation that blew up last week, okay, she's handled it now because someone told her an untruth about something. They told her an untruth. Okay, it was a business arrangement, and they lied to her, and it blew up last week. And she reaped she had to she was, she reaped the benefits of the person telling an untruth, but when truth came, it hurt her because she thought something was one way and it was really another way. Again, it's falling off, right? So I'm just so happy it did not hurt her to extreme. She was able to, recalibrate and get stuff back in order from someone else's lie, from someone else's manipulation. But this is what happened last week. And it's going to be happening like this for the next 2 to 2.5 years. If you got lies floating out there that you've done, or lies that people have done to you, it is coming out. Oh my goodness. It is coming. It is coming. And you have to be able to lean into your strengths to get through it. The mask, I see somebody put this in here, that the mask has come off. Hi, Natifa. Yes, the mask is off. It's off, right? It is off. So now let's move to the fixed sign. So let's say, for instance, in your chart, you have fixed sign domination as a modality. Fixed signs are your stabilizers, all right? Fixed signs are in the middle of the season. So you got Taurus, you got Leo, you have Scorpio, and you have Aquarius. Now, using me as an example again, do y'all see all that fixed sign in my chart? Did y'all see my stellium is in the 11th house, which is a fixed sign? Do y'all see I have a stellium in Taurus? And this was an issue for me in my younger, well, not really my younger years, because I have all brothers. And so I did, even when I would be fixed in what I wanted with my brothers, I would always win. I think if I had sisters, I might have seen something differently, but being the only girl, I mean, all of my brothers, from the oldest to my youngest brother. I mean, if Sherry wanted it with my brothers, I got it. So I didn't really see it, but I did see it in my relationships. I did see it in my relationships, and it hurt me. So this is what I'm talking about, that unyielding, that, oh no, when I say I'm done, I'm done. That unyielding. And if you hurt me, I'm out. Okay, that's fixed. That's what fixed looks like, right? If you betray me, I'm out. Fixed. Nope. Not unyielding. Not playing. Nope. Done. Okay, that's what that looks like. So you're talking about if you have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. These are fixed signs, everyone. These are fixed. Okay. So these people, strengths, they're going to be persistent. They're going to be determined. They're going to get the job done. Okay. When everybody else has dropped off and they don't want to do it anymore, and it was too much work, your fixed signs are going to stay and they're going to get the job done, and they're going to do it until the end. Okay. Another thing about fixed signs, they're very loyal, and they're very steady. Okay. I mean, you're going to see it's not going to be a lot of deviations in the fixed signs. It's just not. They are resistant to change. That's one thing. I hate when somebody used to tell me, well, if we were doing it like this, especially when I was teaching, and I would have a principal that would change our classrooms, change the subjects that we were teaching. I used to hate that. I used to hate it. Coming and doing all this change, I hated it. I was a fixed sign with fixed stelliums. Yes, I'm going to be more affected than somebody over here that is Gemini. Okay. Or the mutable ones, Virgo. They'll listen, they can adapt to change. Not me. I'm having a physical breakdown. Literally a physical breakdown of all of this change. I don't like all of this changing around. Everybody just chill out. So fixed signs are resistant to change. All right. They have a deep focus. They have a deep focus on endurance. That's what I was telling you earlier. Fixed signs, they can endure where other people, they fall out, they faint when situations happen. They're very strong. They can endure the blows. When people listen to some of the stuff that I've been through, a lot of people have no idea some of the trials and tribulations that I've had to endure. And again, I'm moving into a space where this will be more exposed to the public real soon. And when people hear and they understand the stuff that I had to go through, it's going to be shocking, because being fixed, I was able to endure and still keep the smile on my face. I was able to endure and still make sure that I showed up as a mother, right? I showed up as a daughter. I showed up about those areas that I had responsibility in. I was able to show up because I was able to endure. And fixed signs know how to go and energize again. They know how to stow away, get grounded, get stable, energize again to get back into the race. And I mastered that as a fixed sign. All right. Also, fixed signs, they can be stubborn. And I've already told you how that stubbornness hurt me, right? It hurt me early on. And so, again, understanding our strengths and our weaknesses, it helps us to become yielding. It helps us to get the strength to bend in the areas that don't feel right. I don't want to, but I need to. I don't want to do that, but I need to do that. Okay. Because I know if I lean into the areas that I don't want to do, but I know it's something that I need to do, I know I'll be rewarded. And that's what has happened in my life, that when I leaned into areas I didn't want to do, but I did it because I know it was the right thing to do. I got rewarded. All right. So this is important for you to understand. Okay, let me see what's going on in these comments. We arguments in our chart internally. We have arguments in our chart internally. I think that's what she's saying. Okay. All right. All right. Now let's get to the last one. Again, we're talking about how to look at your chart. Let me just do a recap right quick. We're talking about how to look at your chart and be able to read your chart in less than 5 minutes to see what areas is screaming out to you in the themes. All right. What energy is screaming out to you? We started with the stelliums. You can have 3 or more planets in a house or a sign. All right. You can have multiple stelliums or you can have no stelliums. And we're going to talk about those people that don't have any stelliums in a minute. All right. Then we talked about the modality. We're on the modalities now. What did we talk about before? The elements. We talked about the elements. So the elements of fire, earth, air, and water, right? Are these personalities screaming in your chart? Okay. Now we're on modality. So we went over a cardinal, we went over fixed. Now we're going to deal with the mutable signs of modality. These are the adapters. Now I'm going to tell you, I really, really love mutable signs because they can adapt. They make it easy where you might have, let's say we have a committee of people, right? And on this committee, we got these Capricorns, Taurus, Virgo people. We got some cardinal signs happening over there. But then we got the mutable signs of, excuse me, let me go back in. We got some cardinal, we have some fixed signs, but now we got some mutable of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces. These personality types, they just don't give a flip. They're fun-loving people. They really, really are. So when you talk about this mutable signs, okay, and if that's showing dominance in your chart, up again, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, they can adapt to different situations and they don't get bent out of, they don't get bent out of shape. They don't get bent out of shape, okay, because they can adapt. They can adapt to whatever is happening. They're going to be aloof. Okay. They're going to be aloof to situations where everybody might freak out, especially your fixed signs, or could be your earth signs too, because earth signs are fixed, but your fixed modalities or your earth elements, it could be a catastrophe of life, all of this changing. But these signs can adapt. All right. So what are some of the traits? They're very flexible. They're very versatile. All right. With these mutable signs, they communicate very, very well. Okay. You talk about your Sagittarians with the philosophy, the higher thinking, right? Your Virgos with being very detailed, being very structured and discipline oriented. Your Geminis being the communicators of the signs of all the zodiacs. Your Geminis, because it's led by the planet of Mercury. Okay. And then your Pisces with that higher, being able to tap into that spirituality. Okay. So they are communicators. They're good with problem solving. They handle changes very well, very, very well. But here is a weakness because they have scattered energy. They're all over the place sometimes. Now, I'm a Gemini rising, and I can attest to that because I could literally, and I am not lying to you, I could have anywhere from 5 to 10 projects going on at the same time. At the same time. And there's been times when my mother would look at me and she was like, how you have all this stuff going on at the same time and you don't get lost in it? Because I'm grounded in that fixed energy. So it helped stabilize me. So it kind of worked. It just worked out. Being able to have the ideas, being able to be mutable, being able to adapt when changes would happen in business and I wouldn't freak out. Okay, I could just rewind, okay, and start out again. So again, knowing how to lean into that. But I also had to understand you can't have too many where to point you overextending yourself. And there was times in my life where I overextended myself and it hurt me. So I had to learn that there is a cap to what I can and cannot do. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get to the last part. Are you guys enjoying this? Are you learning? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you are. If you joined us and you haven't given us a thumbs up, give a thumbs up because it helps push this out a little further as we come to the end of this. But I hope you are understanding now how to look at your chart and how to know what is screaming out in your chart very loudly. Okay, what is saying, listen to me. Listen to me. All right, this is the last part. The last part is the angular houses. And again, we went over this, okay? We went over this in one of the previous episodes where I just dealt with this. But again, I'm going to show you now how to look at your angular houses to be able to understand, is it screaming at you? Okay? Is it saying you need to pay attention to me because you're not? So the angular houses are the main character houses. These are the houses that are saying, listen, if you don't pay attention to me, I could really do some damage to you because you need to understand you don't want to fight me. You want to understand me. And if you fight me, I'm going to make you feel it. That's pretty much what these houses are saying. So here are your angular houses. So look at your chart. And here are your angular houses. Your first house is an angular house. That's the house of identity. That's who you are. It is a cornerstone. All right. The fourth house, this is your foundation. This is your roots. The fourth house could represent the mother. Okay. So the fourth house is an angular house. It's the family. It's where your foundation comes from. So after you know who you are in the first house, then we move to the fourth house, which is my family, which is the roots, which is my culture, which is what I grew up in. And again, the fourth house has a focus on the mother. All right. Then you have that seventh house, which is relationships. Now look how it's happening now. First house is identity. I'm learning who I am. Fourth house, I'm understanding my family structure, what I grew up with. Then I got my seventh house when I'm learning how to operate in relationship with people. In relationship, who am I going to marry? All of my business partnerships, how to get along with people. All of my contracts, justice, what's fair, what's not fair. All of that is seventh house. Okay. So if your seventh house is screaming to you and you're not leaning into it, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay. And then you have the 10th house, which is your legacy. People don't understand that. They think 10th house is just about your career, your job. Do y'all know celebrities have very strong 10th houses? Okay. 10th house is also the world platform. It's the world platform. So it is your legacy. What are you leaving to your children? What are you leaving to your children's children? Are you leaving anything? The 10th house, what is your career? Right? What have you done to bring forth your purpose in life? Your 10th house is going to tell you this. And it's very, very important, because if you don't know it, again, you just lost. Angular houses can ruin our lives if we are unaware. Absolutely. Right? So if you have planets in your angular houses, life will make you live those things out. Do not ignore the angular houses, because you are going to live those things out. So if you got stelliums in the first, in the fourth, the seventh, or the 10th, oh baby, you need to be focusing there. Oh, for real. Okay. And so these planets are here to they're here to be loud. They're here to be visible. They're going to make you look at them. And they also are life defining. They're going to define your life. The first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. They define your life. So if you got stelliums there, if you have a lot of modalities there, cardinal, fixed, cardinal, fixed, immutable. Oh, I had a brain freeze for a minute. Immutable. Or if you have a lot of elements there, okay, you need to pay attention to them. So now let's go through each one of the houses. Let's go to the first one, which is the first house. This is the house of identity. Now, you will not know this if you don't know what time you were born. Do you all know they purposely stopped putting the birth time on the birth certificates? Did you know that? That was purposely done because they knew that time that we were born gave us a blueprint in the sky from the heavens, as above, so below. They knew that that would be an opening to understand how to bring forth our life purpose and our life understanding. They don't even teach this in they don't even teach this in church. They don't even teach this in church. And the Bible is an astrology book. It's more astrology in that Bible than y'all would ever know. It's mind-boggling to me how we have gone forth with education and we haven't educated appropriately. So in order to understand your identity, your first house, you need to know the time you were born, right? Because that shows who you are. So it's about yourself. It's about your body. This is first house, right? It's about your approach to life. This is first house. So this is how you appear to others, how people see you. It's first house. You don't know. You might have a lot of weaknesses that's happening in your first house. You might have a lot of oppositions that's going on in your first house. You might have some signs that don't get along that's in your first house, and it's coming out and it's playing out in your life like this. Okay. This is first house is where we can see your liars. The liars are shown in the first house. Okay. Yeah, sometimes when you see those different aspects and they don't get along, sometimes you'll find liars sit right there. Okay, you can see it from somebody's chart. Oh yeah, this don't go this way. This person will have a tendency to lie. Okay, you got, again, understanding that, knowing that some people, they don't have courage. They don't have courage to speak truth. They don't have courage to do what's right. So they shy away from the courage, hoping that somebody else handles it, hoping somebody else does something, willing to sacrifice somebody else. It's in the chart. So if that's an area that you say, you know what, you need to start speaking. One of my daughters, she would not speak up. She's real laid back, and she just, as a child now, she would not speak up. And I used to say all the time, how is mommy supposed to know that you don't like this or you don't want to do this if you don't speak, if you don't tell me? She always thought she would hurt somebody's feelings, or somebody would be mad at her. No. When you speak and when you bring it forth, now we know, we have an understanding. So when she got that, life became so much more easier. But she was afraid to talk. But now, as an adult, when I look at her, all of my children have stelliums in their chart. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And so the first thing I did was, when I started to understand this, I pulled all their charts, and it helped me to understand my children better. It helped me to understand the one that's a double Aries, the one that's a double Taurus, right? The one that's a double Sag, the one that was born in 3 retrogrades. It helped me to understand my children better, right? I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses, I know what sets them off. I know when they're tired. I know the ones that's morning people. I know my children that's night people. It shows in their chart. So when we look at the first house, it's the house of who you are. It's your instinctive behavior. What do you instinctively do? You don't have to think about doing. It's just instinct. You do it, right? Some people instinctively are ones that are spearheaders and are goers, right? They make things happen. They instinctively can do this. Some people instinctively they're gonna shy away. Nope, I don't want anybody to look at me. Nope, I don't want anybody to see me. So we have to understand that. Um, your first house is your physical presence, right? Your vitality, your energy of who you are. It's your default mode, who you default to in certain situations. Do you understand when I say default? That means that you could bring forth this space that you're like this, but really when you're all alone and when you're by yourself, you default to really this person right here. That's the first house, right? That's the first house, your default mode, who you are when nobody's looking. Okay. How you start things. That's the first house. It's the doorway to your chart. It's the opening to your chart. And this right here, if you have strong first house placements, this is unmistakable presence. Okay. You're going to have a presence. You're going to have a strong individuality if you have strong first house placements. All right. So now let's move to the fourth house. Again, your roots. Okay. Um, Key words for the first house is the home, and I told you that, the family, your emotional foundation, and your private life. Okay. What's not showing here is again, mother is a factor in this house right here. So this house represents your childhood. What happened in your childhood? Did you have a good childhood? Did you not? Do you know you can look at somebody's chart and see if they're going to have a childhood where they have friction with their mother or friction with their father over at the 10th house's father? You can see it in the chart if they're going to have a great relationship or it's going to be hell to pay with that mother and child relationship. You can see that in someone's chart. Again, looking at those aspects. Okay. The fourth house is the family patterns. Is your family in generational curses? Are there are there reoccurring themes that's happening in your mother's birth chart, your father's birth chart? Now it's in your birth chart. Okay. Or do we have reoccurring themes that have not really we haven't really dealt with? So what does that look like? Are you in a situation whereas your mother or your father, they behave like, let's just say, for instance, they don't speak up. Okay, let's just say you have a mother or father that in situations they just don't speak up. They just, if there's trouble or situations happening, they're not going to say anything. They're going to be paralyzed in fear of speaking up. And then they pass that down to their children. You could see that in the fourth house. You'll be able to see that in that fourth house. That fourth house is ancestry, it's lineage. Okay. Understanding that it's the inner emotional world. It's who you are emotionally when situations happen. And that's fourth house. It's where you retreat for safety. Again, being the house of home. People don't realize generational curses are real. Oh, absolutely, they're real. And it's so sad because some parents, they curse their own children from their behaviors. When they hurt others or they're in situations that bring others harm, they don't understand that those situations bring harm upon the child. And it plays out differently. But yes, they're very, very real. But in the fourth house, it's that emotional side of you. It's that private side of you. Okay. It's the base of your chart. Okay, it's the base of the chart. Strong fourth house energy. Now, again, looking at your chart, and if you have a strong fourth house energy, which is again an angular house, we're talking about you have a deep attachment to home. All right. You have a deep attachment to your inner life, to your emotions. You have strong roots. You know, your family is about having strong roots, strong family beliefs, right? You also might see where in your family that there is either a lot of family support or there's a lot of family challenges. All right. You'll be able to see this in the fourth house. Either a lot of good family support or the hell ain't nobody getting along. Okay. And you can see that in that fourth house. Generational curse breakers are activated by doing what Dr. Sherry is pushing as well. Oh, look at you. All right, so that's fourth house. Now let's go to the house that everybody always wants to know about, which is the seventh house. When am I going to get married? When am I going to have that partner? Right? When am I going to have this love of my life? So let's look at seventh house, which is again partnerships. Seventh house is marriage. Seventh house is contracts. Seventh house is mirroring. Is mirroring. You know, you mirror the person that you with. You mirror the relationship, and that's why again last week when Saturn and Neptune came in, right? We may have been mirroring someone, but when Saturn and Neptune came into Aries, that illusion had to fall away. The mask had to come off, and the real person had to surface. And some people say, "The hell what is going on? I'm not mirroring that person." Absolutely not. Okay. And so this is what's happening in real life scenarios. So we're talking about the seventh house, and again, the partnerships, the marriages, the contracts. So let's talk about what it governs. Long-term partnerships can be found in that seventh house. Okay, long-term relationships can be found in that seventh house. Marriage, business partnerships and business alliances, like if you're starting a business and you're going in partnership with someone, co-workers, right? All this business we're talking about. Open rivals. Okay, your enemies can be found in the seventh house too. People don't know that. Who is your rival? That can be found there. How you relate one-on-one to people, that is in the seventh house. How you relate to people on a, again, one-on-one basis, and traits you project onto others. So you have traits that are projected onto others, and you can see that in that seventh house. It sits directly opposite of your first house. Remember, your first house is identity. Remember, the fourth house, right in between, is home. But that first and that seventh house is a reflection. My identity is now going to show up in my partnerships. Do you see that? Do you see how it's working? Because it mirrors one another. Who I am is going to reflect my partner, my marriage, my business relationship. If I'm a trustworthy person in my marriage and in my business and my partnerships, I should be with trustworthy people. And if that's not happening, we have an explosion, right? We have an explosion. All right. Okay. Generation curses can be. Listen, let me tell you now. Your birth chart, it shows patterns. It is not, how can I put this? It's not the script of your play. It's not the script. It's for you to look at to know how to guide yourself through life. There are time periods you can see in your chart. There are time periods where you should be in business. You should be starting businesses. There are time periods where you're going to be more apt to be in a relationship with someone. There's times in your chart where you should be by yourself. There's times in your chart where you should be growing. There's times in your chart where you should be focusing on your job and your career. All of that is in your chart, right? And when you're operating right, when you're operating where you should be, it helps bring forth the alignment. When we're in alignment, we can break generational curses. Do y'all believe that? Do you believe that when you know who you are and when you're in alignment, generational curses can be broken? But it's when we are in alignment, when we're with people that are not in alignment, it hurts. It hurts everybody. It hurts when we're not in alignment, it hurts others. It hurts our family. It hurts our friends. It hurts our coworkers. Okay. It brings forth strife. It brings forth pain. It brings forth hurt when we're trying to be in relationship with those that's not in alignment. So this is why the seventh house is so important, because it it shows that marriage, it shows that partnership, it shows that relationship, it shows how we work with others. It shows it. Okay. All right, let me see, you guys. Alignment is key to as within, so without. As within, so without. Yes. Okay, Miss Sharon. All right. So strong seventh house placements, relationships shape your life story. Relationships shape your life story. And so I'll be 58 this year. I'll be 58 this year. And when I look back at my own life and I look at my seventh house placement, right? And my relationships with partners, my relationships with my family, with friends, my relationships in business, I have a full understanding now of my weaknesses. And my prayer has been to bring forth a partner that mirrors me, right? Because in all aspects, and I know I've mastered this now, especially with my girlfriendships, and I've been able to master this in my business in my business relationships. But one thing I've realized is that life is forever growing. It's you're always learning lessons. You'll never master everything. You all do know that, right? We're forever growing. We're forever learning. But you can align with people that are on the same street with you, that are going in the same direction as you. And when I have found that, it has worked, right? When I was on the same path, on the same street with the same people, it just seems like we could really make things happen. For example, let me give you an example of this. This is actually happening this week. Remaining a student is key no matter what we master. Absolutely. So let me explain to you how this looks. I have a best girlfriend. We've been friends literally since I was 12 and she was 13, right? And we were cheerleaders together. We were on the dance team together in high school. We were even in pageants together, where I met her. No, we were cheerleaders together, but I met her. We really became the formal relationship when we were in a pageant together. And we were top three, me, her, and our other good girlfriend. And I actually won the pageant, and she was my second runner up, and Angie was my first runner up. And we just became the best of buddies ever since then. So this time last year, her and I went to a Galentine's mystery or something. Who killed who? It was real corny. She wore this old crazy looking wedding dress, and I mean, I was just in there like, girl, I don't even feel like being bothered with all of this craziness that's going on with this Galentine mystery. And we walked in and they got the body of the person in tape at the door. It was just craziness. So I was already in a real silly mood. And then I started drinking. So it just made it worse. Anyway, thing was over. Blase, blase. I even was a part of the darn mystery thing. I don't know how I got up there. Anyway, it was hilarious. So we're going into the bathroom. And I don't know why, but I just said, let's do some TikToks. And she looked at me. I said, come on. I said, let's just do some dances, because her and I used to dance together. So our vibe is just, even now in our 50s, our vibe is just there. It's just there, even now when we dance. So we were doing some TikToks. So we did them. It was on my phone. So I came home, and I don't know, when we were doing the TikTok, I just wanted to tell the world, how being friends from the ages of 12 to 13, and now at that time we were 56, 57, and how we were able to get through all of the BS of life, and we're still standing here as friends, right? Well, that TikTok went viral. Okay. It had over 50, no, over, I think 20 million. It started with 16 million views, and then all of the platforms took off, and it went up to over 20. Listen, millions of views, millions, to the point that we actually even won a trip. We went on NBC's Jenna and Friends at the time. She's changed it up now, but it was Jenna and Friends and in New York. And we went on her show. And if you go to my link bio, I don't have the thing showing, but if you go to my link bio, it's actually there. Let me see. Wait a minute now. I lost y'all. Hold on for a minute. Where did y'all go? I know. Listen, stay with me. I know y'all are here. It went out to 500%. There we go. All right, we're back normal again. All right, here we go. All right. So anyway, I was going to show you guys that when you go to my link bio. There we go. If you go to my link bio, you'll be able to see it. But I said all that to say this. It was the spirit of that TikTok, of who we were as friends, that kind of resonated out to the world. It resonated out to the world. It resonated on how we felt about one another, the love that we had, and you could feel the energy. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because knowing who you are, knowing the relationships, knowing the people that are on your same team, it matters a lot. And when it matters in that space, and when it is in that space, let me rewind that. When it is in that space, it will resonate out to others. Okay. Others will feel that energy. Others will want to have that same energy. We had so many little girls that commented on our on that TikTok on different platforms saying, I want to be like that, or I wish I had a friend like that, or me and my girlfriend now, I hope that we're friends, for 30, 40, 50 years. Yogi and I, her name is Yogi, my friend. So Yogi and I, we talked about that, and it made us sad of something that it is for us, right? It is. That relationship is there. And it will forever be there. In fact, when I did my interview with Jenna and Friends, they asked and they said, well, what would be one thing that you would want to say to summarize your relationship? And I said to them, till death do us part. Whew. I told you I'm such a crybaby because I cherish my friendship with her, and it's meant a lot because we both went through a lot at the same time, even as young girls, different experiences. And she's lost both of her parents now, and I've lost one. So we have had life experiences that some people haven't had. And so when you can go through life with someone, with the trials and the tribulations, right? And you still remain friends. This is what I'm telling you is in your birth chart, right? This is why you have to understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Because when you understand that, you'll be able to align with people that will help you do life. Does that make sense? To align with people that will help you do life. And for us to realize that there were so many people that did not have those type of relationships, it broke her and myself up. It tore us up in the inside because something that we just took for granted. We realized that it's so many people that don't have that, right? It's a lot of people that don't have that type of love and type of support in their life in any aspect. They don't have it in their families. They don't have it with friends. They don't have it on their jobs. They don't have that type of love. They don't have that type of joy. And it's sad. It's sad. And so Yogi and I, we've learned to not take that for granted. We've learned to cherish those relationships, to cherish those partnerships. So when we talk about the angular house of 7, this is where you find this, okay? This is where you find these strengths. This is where you find this understanding of who you are as far as partnerships are concerned. All right. And I didn't mean to cry, but I get teary and I cried on the interview. It's funny now. It was funny then too, because our other girlfriend went with us, Mia, and when she asked me that, and I said till death do us part, I cried on the interview because even all the TV crew, everybody that was there, it was crazy. Even the TV crew, they were crying because they felt my energy. Because even Yoke, she was tore up. She was tore up because she was watching the interview from behind the place. Behind the screen. She was watching it. And when I got off set, she was just like boo-hooing. So it's something that I'm just so happy that I've been able to cherish. But again, it's looking in that 7th house for you. This is where you'll be able to find that. All right. So let's see what you guys are saying. Perishing for lack of knowledge is at an all-time high. Yes. Yes. My people perish for a lack of knowledge. That is so true. All right, you guys, let's do the 10th house and we are out of here. Oh my God, I didn't know I'd been on here this long. Okay, 10th house is very important. This is legacy, right? This is legacy. And this is your career. This is your public image. A lot of celebrities have very strong 10th houses. Okay, this is your achievement. This is your reputation. Now, wow, I literally just played out to you guys my 10th house. I literally just played out my 10th house to you. I'm hoping y'all are seeing this. Let me put this up. This is unbelievable. I literally just played out to you guys my 10th house. And let me show you. You're going to see what I'm talking about, how this stuff is real. You literally just witnessed my 10th house. Let me put my birth chart back up here. And let me see if somebody catches it. Let me see if somebody catches it. Now look at my 10th house. Look at my 10th house. I just want to see if somebody can summarize in one sentence how I literally just played out my 10th house. Now, again, the 10th house is legacy, career, public image, achievement, reputation. Okay. It's your calling. It's your vocation. It's your public status. It's your authority and recognition. It's your impact on the world. It's how history remembers you. It's relationship with power structures, right? It's the highest point of your chart, the 10th house. How did I just play that out just a few seconds ago? I'm just going to see if somebody's going to get it. I'm only going to give y'all a minute. I'm going to see if somebody comes forth. My 10th house is a Pisces moon. Is a Pisces moon. My 10th house is Pisces moon. Let me see if somebody can get this, because that I literally just played it out for you. My Pisces moon was ever so present just a few seconds ago. It was ever so present when you were on the Jenna and Friends. When I was on the Jenna and Friends, and not only that, remember I told you, Pisces is what? It's emotion. It's emotion, right? It's emotion. So I literally put my emotions, okay? Pisces being a water sign of emotions. I literally just cried on a public platform. And me crying on a public platform is who I am. It's truly who I am. The inside of me was actually just seen to the world. It was on there on Jenna and Friends, and I just did it on YouTube with you all. You're expressing your love for your friends and the tear. Yes. Yes. Yes, y'all, this is what I'm telling you. So you literally just saw my Pisces moon. You're seeing how this operates in my life. right? So those that are not public people, right? It would, I don't think it would work with me, right? If my friendships that I have now weren't public, I do have a friend who is very, very private, and she chooses not to be with us when we are doing public things like on social media, what have you, because she feels uncomfortable. And so I'm telling you is that if by me being in alignment with Yogi, she's like I am, right? She doesn't mind getting in front of the camera. She doesn't mind doing that. And we jail. It works. It works for us, right? We have an understanding and it's fun. But our other friend, we have to respect that about her. And it doesn't flow as easy. It doesn't mean we don't love her. We love her, but it doesn't flow. That aspects of our personality doesn't flow with hers like that. Pisces is a water sign and its memories of life and emotions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So, golly, I couldn't even have planned that. I couldn't even have planned that. But that's what that 10th house is, right? It puts us on Front Street. So strong 10th house energy is visible. It is a visible life path. It's going to be visible. So literally, you all saw my life path play out, right? It's leadership potential. It's the public role. We went on a national platform from simply doing a TikTok that was filled with emotions, right? So that's why, and not only that, me being a Gemini rising and me having I have my Jupiter, my Leo I have a Jupiter Leo in the 3rd house as well. So anything I do with social media, anything I do with communications, it's going to expand. I mean, I'm a Jupiter Leo in the 3rd house. So if you understand that what Leo is, and then we're adding that with Jupiter, okay, which is expansion, and then you're putting that in the 3rd house. Yes, I'm going to speak on a public platform. That's who I am. I'm not going to be afraid to talk to thousands of people. It's please let me know where to send my birth. Okay, I will. I'll let you know where to send your birth chart before I get off of here. Okay. Where can you send your birth chart? I guess this would be for everybody. How about this? How about y'all send your birth charts to, let me see, we're on here. Send it to info@newstatusnewlife.com. Let's do that. Okay. Info, and do it at this website right here, newstatusnewlife.com. Send it at info@newstatusnewlife.com and just put birth chart in the summary. And then I'll start taking your birth charts and we'll start using them here on the platform. All right. So think of the 4 houses like this, and then we're going to be out of here. So we got the axis, right, from the 1st through the 7th house, which is self and others. So if you look at the houses, we got the 1st house all the way through the 7th house, which is partnerships, marriage, all of that. That's self and others. But then we're going to take the other part of your birth chart, which would be the house 4th through the 10th house. And this is your private life versus your public life. All right. So you got the 1st through the 7th. Excuse me, I said that wrong. I'm sorry. We're talking about the opposites now. So the 1st house through the 7th house, this is yourself, and this is your relationships, your partnerships, such and such. Then you got the 4th, which is opposite that 10th house. So the 4th, again, is your private life, which is your family, what have you. And then you got the 10th house, which is reflecting from that, which is your public. Okay? Which is your public. Okay. All right. So why are angular houses so powerful? Why are they so powerful? The 1st house asks the question, who am I? And again, if you don't know the time that you were born, you won't know who you are. Can't help you. Ain't nothing we can do. You just got to keep trying to figure it out. But the fourth house is, where do I come from? Where do I come from? Right? What's my foundation? Who are these people that I've come from? Who are these people that I've grown up with, my family? Who are these people? Then the seventh house is, who am I going to meet? Who is going to be in my life? Right? Who am I going to mirror? And then the 10th house is, who do I become? Who am I becoming? Who am I supposed to be? That's what this is. So planets here. So if you look at your chart and you see planets in that first, that fourth, that seventh, or that 10th house, they are highly expressed houses. Okay? They're screaming out. They're screaming. They're hard to ignore, right? They're often tied to major life events. Y'all saw my Pisces moon in the 10th house. So on a large platform, it's going to be about emotions. So when I had a women's group, it was a faith-based women's group. That women's group had grown so fast. It was unbelievable. People could not believe how fast it had grown, to the point we even had chapters on college campuses. So I had the women's group, I had the chapter groups on the college. It just kept growing and growing and growing. But it was a safe haven for women. Okay, I called it Women of the Well. And then we started getting men. I had to change it to Of the Well. It was crazy. It was unbelievable. But what I'm telling you is that was playing out because it was an emotional space that helped on a larger platform. That was my chart. So I understand why it worked now. I didn't understand the chart stuff back then. But when I look back now, I can say, oh, that's why that took off like that. Now I have an understanding of why that just exploded like that. While we were able to help so many women, to the point men started coming. We helped the men too. Okay. So it's going to often be tied to major life events, which was a major life event for me. And then it's always going to be central to your story, right? My Pisces is in the 7th by default currently. Okay. I don't know what that means by default. Oh, I think you're talking about the progressed moon. I mean your the progress chart. Is that what you're saying? It's in your progress chart in Pisces. And I think I hinted on you guys about the progress chart, because you're forever moving, right? Everything is forever moving. So you have your birth chart, but your progress chart is where everything is, like today, like today on this date right here. Okay. So that's all we have today, you guys. Let me make sure. I think we did very, very well. Let me talk about this for a minute. Okay, so let me go through a quick walkthrough of what you're going to say if you're looking at a chart, and I just want to make sure I say this because it's going to kind of help you. Okay. So if you're doing this for the first time, you don't have your chart right now, and you're going to get your chart later. I want you to come to this part right here, because I'm going to tell you, the first thing you're going to look for is this: what's loud in your chart. First, you're going to ask, do I have a stellium? Then you have, what's the dominant element? Remember the elements: fire, okay? Fire, earth, air, water. Those are the elements. What's the dominant modality? Cardinal, fixed, mutable, okay? Then you're going to ask, are there planets in the angular houses? And then you're going to ask, what is repeating itself over and over and over again? What's the loudest things in my chart? What is screaming to me that I need to pay attention to? Now, I want you to understand, these are some things that are misunderstandings. And I wrote these down because I want to make sure I clear this out. Patterns replace placements. No, that's not true. Patterns show what matters first. It's not replacing anything. It's just showing what's happening first, what is in the front of the line. Okay. Now, here's the thing about the stellium. I don't have a stellium, so my chart is boring. No, absolutely not. No, no, no. No chart is boring. Let me just say that no chart is boring at all. Some charts are more balanced. And if you have a balanced chart, that means that you're able to kind of master your emotions or master situations, okay? Because you're balanced. My chart is not balanced. That's why it has the possibility of friction. It has the possibility of friction because it's not balanced. I'm all concentrated in just a few areas, right? So some life themes, some life situations are going to be more difficult for me because again, I have to find that mutable, okay, space of being able to learn how to bend, which has been, I told you, challenging for me in my life. Not now because I understand it, but back then it was very challenging. So if you don't have a stellium or any concentration, that doesn't mean anything. It means that you're balanced. Okay. And then your chart is too complicated. No, that's why patterns exist. So you can know how to simplify. Nothing is even too complicated. Okay. You just got to learn how to bring forth those themes that are more important. So patterns show what's dominant. Stelliums are megaphones. Remember, we talked about that earlier, right? Elements show your fuel, okay? Modalities show how you move. Angular houses show what life emphasizes, and repetition is destiny is going to be your highlighter. All right? Repetition is going to be highlighted because that's things that are patterns showing over and over and over again. That's kind of where you're headed. That's the path that you need to be on. All right, you guys. I pray you enjoyed today. Um, this was a good one. So I pray that you got a lot out of it. Uh, be safe out there. Be safe out there. Is a lot going on. So be safe. Be safe and remember to be kind. Right? All right, you guys. Until next time. Bye.